We'll begin in child's pose. Go ahead and come forward onto your hands and your knees. Let your knees come out wide with your big toes together to touch. And as you rest your hips back towards the heels and release your forehead to the floor, begin to let go of any muscular effort. There's an Indian proverb or axiom that says everyone is a house with four rooms: a physical room, a mental, an emotional, and a spiritual. And most of us, we tend to live in one room most of the time. In which room do you spend most of your time? Go ahead and come to rise up onto your hands and knees. Settle the wrists underneath the shoulders, fanning out the fingers so that the pointer fingers are at 12 o'clock. Now, as you look a little bit ahead, I want you to imagine in the torso that someone has placed their hands to your belly, holding it up like a tray. And then in the back of the body, imagine someone is tightening up a corset. So you should really feel this engagement, space between the ears and shoulders. Now extend your right leg back, coming into the calf stretch so your toes are to the floor. The crown of the head is forward. Looking just a bit ahead of the mat will be helpful so there's no creases in the neck. Now we're going to extend the left leg back, coming into a plank position. About 50% of waking hours is spent thinking about what isn't going on. Many of us live in the mental room. Stay in plank. I want you to lift your right foot so that the toes are hovering to the ground. Bring your right knee towards your right elbow. And then extend your leg back, keeping the leg lifted. Now plant your right foot to the floor. Really press into your hands. Lift your left leg, extending through the heel, knee to elbow. Extend back, keeping it lifted, and now plant the foot down. Inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, extend, keep the leg lifted. Now plant the foot down. Left leg lifts, breathe in. Bring your knee to elbow, breathe out. Extend your leg back, inhale, plant your foot down, exhale. Stay in plank for a full breath in, downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal out your feet, looking in between the feet, feeling solid in your fingers. Since most of us live in the mental room, I thought today I'd explore with you attitudes that support and enable mental health. Go ahead and look back in between your feet and begin to walk your hands all the way to the back of the mat so that you can find yourself in ragdoll, your hips directly over your ankles, hinging at the hips. Let either your arms straight to the floor or bring your hands to the opposite elbows. Heaviness is in your head. No muscular effort is in the torso. This practice of yoga, it's intended to help soothe the mind. It helps you with emotional resilience, calmness, and concentration. Shake your head, yes. Shake the head, no. And shake your head back to yes. Go ahead and release the hands. Keep your feet hip distance as they are. The slight bend in the knees, chin to chest, one vertebrae at a time. Begin to rise all the way up to a stand. And then circling the arms out and overhead to reach up. Find yourself in a slight back bend, pushing the hips forward, shoulders are down. And then stay standing. Bring your hands to your heart. Take a self-soothing breath in through your nose. And an open mouth breath out. Fluttering the eyes open, release your arms by the side body. Circle overhead. Come into that slight back bend. Hinge at your hip joints and fold forward and down, your variation of a forward fold. Option to bring your hands to the ankles or a palm to each calf so that you're bringing the top of your head down while your sit bones stay lifted up. Sliding your palms to your shins, come into a halfway lift. Look forward. One attitude we learn in this practice of yoga is the witness of the mind, which could also mean awareness, being the observer, mindfulness. Take a full breath in, stay here. I want you to walk your hands forward, downward facing dog, breathe out. As you breathe in, come forward into a high plank position, option to release to knees. Your choice, lower all the way or halfway down. Flip the feet, up dog or baby cobra, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. I want you to be aware of the movement. Stay in down dog, take a breath in. Walk your hands to the back of your mat, forward fold, breathe out. Palms to shins, inhale, look up, halfway lift. Fold, hands behind legs, top of the head down. One breath, rise to stand, bend in the knees, rise and reach, come into that slight back bend. Hands to heart, stay standing, breathe out through your nose. Release your arms, circle overhead, press down through the heels, gazes up. Hinge at your hips and fold forward and down, empty. Slide your palms to shins, halfway lift. Walk your hands forward, downward facing dog. Slide forward into a high push-up position. Lower all the way or halfway, elbows into ribs. Up dog or baby cobra, inhale. Hips press back, downward facing dog, exhale. Stay for a complete breath in. Breathe out, walk your hands to the back of the mat. Halfway lift, be aware of not just the movement, fold forward, breathe out, but aware of breath as well. One breath, rise to stand, inhale. Find that slight back bend, hands to heart, stay standing, exhale. Arms by side, circle overhead, heels press down, look up. Hinge at your hip joints, fold forward and down. Halfway lift, breathe in. Walk the hands forward, downward facing dog, out breath. Big hands slide forward, shoulders, hips, heels in line. Lower, elbows hug in. Flip your feet, chest forward, legs back into the back bend of choice. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Stay here in down dog for a complete breath in and a complete breath out. Bring your feet together, lift your right leg up into a one-legged down dog. And come to step the right foot all the way through in between your hands. So aligning the right knee directly over the ankle, you'll lightly release the left knee to the floor. Arms rise up, modified crescent lunge. So the right knee is aligned directly over the ankle. The back toes are curled under, shoulders are down the back away from the ears. Take one more full breath in. Plant your hands to the ground and pause here. You're going to lift your left knee and your right arm up at the same time, coming into a dragonfly twist. Length is in the back leg, length is in the spine. Press down into your left hand so there's space between the ear and shoulder, and reach up through your right fingertips. The right shoulder and upper ribs come back. Awareness is the first step in learning to be a witness to your own experience, whether of the body or the mind. Stay here, take an inhale, release your right hand to the floor. I want you to just tent up the fingers and look forward to create length in the spine. You're going to step your left foot directly behind the right foot, crossing in the ankles. So step that left foot behind the right. So when you look at your feet, you've created a V. So the ankles are completely crossed. It's like you've created a fin. Your pinky toes are together. Now come into a halfway lift, look forward, and then fold forward. Now you have a few options here. You can stay here forward, folding forward over the legs. You can feel a little bit more sensation, turning your fingertips to a point behind you and crawling them back like spiders. Lastly, you can bring your hands in front of you and then crawl to the top right corner of your mat, staying on the tented fingertips, opening up the left side of the body. There's a Swami who once stated there are many reactions to different situations. As soon as you realize you have a choice, you can stop for a moment, witness, and choose the way you would really like to react. This leads to mental control. Go ahead and wherever you've taken this, let your hands come to return in front of you. Finding standing splits, you're going to keep your right foot planted and rise your left leg up, walking your hands into the foot, dropping your head down. Become a witness to your hips. Are they open or are they closed? It doesn't matter which way, both of them are completely fine. I'm just having you become aware. You're going to lift your left leg up high and then bring your big toes together to touch at the top of your mat. Finding yourself in chair pose, bend the knees deeply, rise your arms up. To be most effective, the skill of witnessing must be used daily in everyday life. Feel the distribution of weight into your heels. Become aware how this posture begins to intensify your breath. Release the shoulders down the back away from your ears. Can you sink a little bit lower? Take one more breath in, straighten your legs, bring your hands to your heart. Circle your arms overhead, find that slight back bend, pushing the hips forward, look up. Hinge at your hip joints and fold all the way forward and down, top of the head to ground. Halfway lift, lead with the heart forward. Hands to the floor, step back into a high push-up, or all fours, shift forward and lower. Up dog or baby cobra, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. With your big toes together, lift your left leg up towards the ceiling, toes flexed to floor. Step the left foot all the way through in between your hands. Lightly release your right knee down with your toes curled. Arms rise up overhead, modified crescent lunge. So you want to feel your inner thigh muscles come towards one another. You want to neutralize the pelvic floor. Drawing the belly button up and into the spine, the tailbone tucks down. Set your eyes to a point. Burst your hands open and rotate your pinkies in towards one another and the thumbs out. Take one more full breath in. Come to release your hands to the floor. Now you're going to lift your right knee and your left arm up at the same time. Dragonfly twist. You'll either look down to the ground, forward, or up. Now, in this practice of yoga, it's important that you make friends with your mind. Stay here, open up, release your hand down, and pause. Just tend up the fingers and look forward. We're going to step the right foot behind the left foot, crossing in the ankles. So I can't stress this enough that we're not on a tightrope, so the right foot's not directly behind the left like a tightrope. You're in fact crossing in your ankles. So when you look, your pinky toes are together. You're creating this V shape. Fingertips to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift, fold forward. Now your choice. Either stay with your hands to ground as you are, turn your fingertips to point behind you and crawl them back to the back of your yoga mat. Or with your fingers in front of you, you'll walk to the top left corner of your mat, staying on the fingertips and keeping that right hip back. Now this is going to be put into a moving meditation. And it's important that you don't put yourself down or beat yourself up or build small things into big things. Yoga promotes peace of mind, nonviolence. Go ahead and come to walk your hands in. We're going to keep the left foot planted to the floor and rise the right leg up. Walking your hands in to standing splits. Yoga provides tools to help transform dysfunctional, conflicted states into peaceful ones. Stay here, breathe in. Bring your big toes together to touch. Bending the knees, chair pose. Transformation of the mind is possible, provided that you're committed to cultivating awareness of your responses and your reactions. Stay here, breathe in, straighten your legs, hands to heart, breathe out. Circle your arms overhead, find that back bend, look up. Hinge at your hip joints, fold forward and down. Palms to the shins, halfway lift. Hands to floor, step back to plank or all fours, slide forward and lower, looking forward, not at the feet. Up dog or baby, cobra, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Just stay in down dog for a full breath in and a full breath out. Feet together, lift your right leg up to ceiling, inhale. Step your right foot in between your hands, knee over ankle, back heel lifted. Lift your right leg up high, breathe in. Step your right foot all the way through in between your hands, lightly left knee down, toes curled. Arms overhead, inhale, modified crescent lunge. Hands to the ground to frame your right foot. Lift your left knee and right arm up at the same time, dragonfly twist. Right hand to the floor, breathe out. Pause here. Just tent up the fingers, look forward, inhale. Now step your left foot behind the right, crossing the ankles as you exhale. In a halfway lift, look up. Breathe out, fold. Lift your left leg up to the ceiling, standing splits. Bring your big toes to touch, breathe out. Chair pose, breathe in. Hands to heart, straighten in the legs, breathe out. Circle overhead, inhale into that back bend, look up. Hinge at your hips, fold forward and down, empty. Halfway lift, chest parallel to floor, hands to ground, big hands, step back, come forward, shoulders, hips, heels in line when you lower. Up dog or baby cobra, shoulders away from ears. Down dog, exhale. Left leg lifts, breathe in. Step your foot all the way through, right knee down, toes curled. Arms overhead, modified crescent. Hands to the ground, breathe out. Lift your back knee and the left arm up at the same time, inhale. Bring your hands to the ground, exhale. Stay here, just tented up fingers, look forward. Step your right foot behind the left foot, pinky toes touch. Fingertips to floor, halfway lift. Fold, top of your head is down. Lift your right leg up to the ceiling, breathe in. Bring your big toes to touch, out breath. Chair pose, sink your hips, rise your arms. Straighten your legs, hands to heart, breathe out. Circle overhead, inhale. Fold forward and down, exhale. Come into the halfway lift, breathe in. Plant your hands to ground, step back. Come forward so your chest and your hips are together when they lower. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up high, breathe in. Come to step the right foot all the way through in between your hands. Pause here, lightly left knee to the floor. Come into Hariman half split. So you're going to help your right leg. Maybe you pick it up to adjust it so the toes flex to your face. You can stay lifted with your hip over the knee, fingertips to ground. And a halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, bringing your belly button towards the thigh. Pause and breathe. This yoga practice supports a process of opening to feelings, being open to a feeling, and being able to observe at the same time rather than be overwhelmed by it. I want you to become aware of the slightest of sensations you're experiencing. We're getting better at feeling. Feel what you feel, accept those feelings, and then let them go. Acceptance and letting go are companions. Come to lift in your chest. Slide your right foot back so that you will realign your right knee directly over your ankle. Come to curl the back toes, your left toes. Come into a modified crescent lunge. So you can bring your hands onto the thigh. We're going to come back to rise the arms up. Release the shoulders down. So as the back toes are curled under, drawing your belly in. We're going to take an inhale. Now you're going to lift your left knee and airplane your arms back behind you at the same time. So now we've lifted the left knee, feeling the energy of the left heel come down. And we're not resting our chest onto the front thigh, nor is the chest parallel to the floor. It's more diagonal. Now the crown of the head is coming forward. If arrowhead is in your practice, in which your palms face to the floor and you rotate your thumbs up, pinkies down, you can do that. Or your palms can face one another, drawing the palms in. I want you to keep your torso as it is and just bring your arms forward by your ears. So we find ourselves in lightning. We're going to come into airplane pose. You're going to launch and lift your left leg and then sweep your arms by your sides, palms face to the floor. Now the heart is lifted up higher than the hips. Drop the left hip down to be in line with the right hip. Imagine my palms and your palms are pressing into one another. You can have a slight bend in that right leg. We're going to bring the feet together at the top of the mat, and in doing so, sweep your arms down and then rise them up. Come into that back bend. So we're standing at the top of our mats with the feet together, looking up, feeling the skin hug the muscle and muscle hug the bone in the legs. Palms join, hinge at your hips, fold forward and down. Slide your palms to your shins, look up in a halfway lift. Plant your hands, step your right foot to the back of your mat, lightly release your right knee to the floor. Come to prepare for Hanuman half splits. Help your leg extend forward with your toes flexed to face. Now, with your belly button aimed towards the thigh, take an inhale and then fold. Activate the top of your leg. So tune in to the slightest of sensations. When you activate the top of the leg, you should feel the stretch in the back. Space between your top and bottom teeth. Come to lift in your chest. Gonna slide the left foot back to realign the knee over the ankle. Bring your left hand to the inside of the foot. With your core active, you're gonna come to all fours. Sweep the left leg back, coming to hands and knees, big hands. Dip the navel, lift your chest, come into the cow posture, scooping the tailbone up. And then bring the chin to chest, round in the spine, come into cat. Dip your navel, draw the chest through the arms, tailbone scoops up, look up. Chin to chest, round in the spine, press the ground away. One more time, dip the navel, inhale, fill in the chest, look up. Tuck toes, downward facing dog, lift your hips up and back. With your feet together, lift your left leg up into a one-legged down dog. And then come to step the left foot all the way through in between your hands. Lightly release your right knee down with your toes curled. Arms rise up, modified crescent lunge. So glancing down to make sure the knee is directly over your ankle and that you can see your big toe. Breathing in and out through the nose. Now as the right toes are tucked, you're going to take an inhale and you're going to lift your right knee and you're going to bring the torso forward and airplane your arms back behind you. So feel your shoulder blades draw in towards one another and then slide down the back body. Feel your inner thigh muscles come towards one another. Now, you're just going to bring the arms forward by your ears, palms face one another. Fire up that breath. Now, launching into airplane. You're going to sweep the arms by your sides and lift up your right leg. Now, adjust the right hip down to be in line with your left. All 5 toes point to the ground and you're extending through the hip to the heel back. Now, bring your toes together. Your arms come to the ground. And then you sweep them up and look up into that back bend. Palms join, hinge at your hips, fold forward and down. Halfway lift, breathe in, hands to ground, step back into a plank, shift forward and lower. Up dog or baby cobra, breathe in. Down dog, exhale, press back. Stay in down dog for a complete inhale and a complete exhale. Live in the present. Lift your right leg up high, inhale. Step the right foot all the way through in between your hands. Lightly left knee down, toes curled under. Arms overhead, modified crescent lunge. Breathe in. Lean forward, airplane the arms, back knee lifts, out breath. Keep the torso, arms by your ears, inhale. Airplane pose, launch, arms by sides, leg lifts, exhale. Big toes touch, rise your arms up, come into the back bend, look up. Palms join, fold forward and down, empty. Halfway lift, breathe in, hands to ground, step back or jump back lightly, lower. Inhale, up. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lifts. Step the left foot all the way through, softly right knee down. Modified crescent lunge. Breathe in. Lift your right knee, lean forward, airplane arms, breath out. Keep the torso, arms by your ears. Inhale. Airplane pose, launch. Exhale. Feet together, reach up, look up into the back bend. Palms join, hinge at the hips. fold forward and down. Halfway lift. Breathe in, hands to ground, step back, ride your breath high to low. Inhale, up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here and take a full breath in and a full breath out. I'm going to have you come back into a high push-up. So we're looking forward, just like I had you start in this plank position. Lift your right toes, hover from the ground, inhale. Right knee, right elbow, exhale. Extend the right leg back, you're looking forward. Plant the right foot down, breathe out. Lift your left leg up, toes hover. Knee to elbow, breathe out. Extend the leg back, fill in your lungs. Now plant the foot down. Right leg lifts, inhale. Knee to elbow, exhale. That butt's not lifted. Extend the leg back, breathe in. Plant the foot, breathe out. Left leg lifts, breathe in. Knee to elbow, breathe out. Extend, inhale back, release the foot down. Take an inhale, release to hands and knees. Go ahead and come to sit all the way up. Going to turn the weight to a side. So you can swing the legs forward in front of you. Now I'm going to turn to face you. We're going to come to extend the right leg out. So it's in a half wide straddle. The sole of your foot, your left foot, it's not going to connect to your inner thigh. There's going to be space, okay? Because this is what's going to be our back bend today. You're going to bring your left hand behind you, fingertips point behind you, and then you're going to come onto your knee and that left outer shin, the right foot will plant entirely to the floor. So you're going to press into the knee and shin and reach back. Breathe. So this is the back bend, pushing the hips forward, lifting your chest up, and then go ahead and come to take a seat. We're going to come into deer pose. So what that means is you're going to keep your left shin, you're going to shift your weight over to the left, and then you're going to bring the right knee to a 90-degree bend. So looking over the shoulder, hip, knee, ankle are in line. And then you'll come forward, either arms straight, or you can rest down onto the forearms. Now go ahead and slowly come to sit all the way up to stack shoulders over your hips. Keep your left leg as it is. You're just going to shift your weight over, and then you're going to bring the right leg forward so that your ankle is in line with the hip. It's like we're in a sitting down tree leg. So as we come into a sitting down tree leg, you're going to flex the right toes to your face. We're going to take a spine twist over towards the left. So as you bring your hand onto your knee and your left fingertips stay on the ground to help you sit up tall, stay here, breathe in, and then rotate, look back, breathe out. Take one more inhale. Stay here and look back as you exhale. Now you're going to smoothly come forward to the center and you're going to plant your left foot to the ground. So the knee points up towards the ceiling. You're going to rest your hands to the ground here over towards the right. Big hands, bend in the elbows, your chest comes down. And as you press into your hands, you're looking back behind you. Now slowly come to sit all the way up. Extend your leg forward. Now we're going to come into the half wide straddle with the left leg extending out and tucking the sole of the foot of the right foot towards the inner part of the thigh. They're not touching because now we'll find our back bend. With your right hand behind you, fingertips pointing behind you. Now you're going to come to lift up so you rest onto your right knee, outer shin. The left foot comes entirely to the floor. Pressing down to lift up. And then go ahead and slowly come to take a seat onto your sit bones, stack shoulders over hips. They're going to keep the right leg where it is. Now, my shin's going to become parallel to the outer edge of my mat. You're going to shift the weight over to the right and bend in the left knee so that when you come into the shape, the knee's at a 90-degree. When you're ready, you'll come forward and down. Living in the present. The idea of living in the present is often misunderstood. It does not mean denying the past or living carelessly without regard for consequences as if there is no tomorrow. It means living accordingly to the needs and the reality of the present. And this cannot be done while thoughts, emotions, actions, and reactions are based on conditional responses that you have no awareness or control of. That's why, as a teacher of yoga, we do our best so that you're not living on autopilot. Take a slow breath in through the nose and a slow breath out through the nose. Go ahead and come to walk your hands in to sit all the way up. You're going to shift your weight to the right and swing your leg forward in front of you. So as you extend through the leg, the left ankle's in line with the hip. Tuck the sole of your right foot to the inner part of the thigh. Flex your left toes to your face. A spine twist to the right. Bring your left hand to your knee. Rest your right fingertips to the ground. Inhale to create length. Stay here. Exhale and rotate to look back. Take a full breath in. Stay here into the twist. Breathe out. One more inhale and exhale. Slowly come forward to the center. Plant your right foot firmly to the ground so the knee points up. Bring your hands over to the left, big hands bend in the elbows. Seep your chest down and then rotate your upper body as you look back. And then go ahead and come to take a seat, sit up, and extend the leg long. You're going to prepare. I'm just going to turn into a seated forward fold. So you might rock your hips side to side. You can relax in your feet and then fold forward and down. Let the tops of your hands rest to the ground so the palms face up. Allow your top body to drape towards your lower body. Relax in your shoulders. There's an Indian proverb or axiom that says everyone is a house with 4 rooms: a physical room, a mental, an emotional, and a spiritual. Most of us tend to live in one room most of the time. But unless you go into every room every day, even if only to keep it aired, you are not a complete person. Hopefully, my theme today helped you to air out your mental room. Hopefully, it helped you air out your entire house. And come to walk your hands in up the legs so that you'll stack your shoulders over your hips. Come into an easy cross-legged position. Let your palms come to rest onto the knees as you sit up tall and close the eyes. Become aware of the effects of yoga. Keep the eyes closed. Release your arms down by your side so your palms face forward. Circle your arms out and overhead. Reach up. Palms join, hands to heart. Breathe out. Do that one more time. Here in awareness, circle overhead and bring your hands to heart. We'll together take a cleansing breath in and an open mouth breath out. From my heart to yours. We rest our thumbs to forehead and we bow together and we say, Namaste.